But yeah, touching on probably the body image thing, I think just being a female in general, I think it's really hard. Well, I think it'd be really hard growing up now on Instagram. You see all these beautiful, stunning girls, and you're just like, well, how am I meant to look like that on Instagram? But you don't really realize what goes on behind the scenes, like if there's editing and all that kind of stuff. And I think the most important thing is knowing that, like, if I'm a netball player, I'm a mid-quarter, I'm not going to be tall and skinny. I'm shorter, I'm a bit more nuggety, I'm a bit more stronger. And I think it's just owning that. I think that's really important, is like knowing that I need to be comfortable in my own body and that I work bloody hard and I'm fit enough and I'm strong enough. And I think I think it's come a long way. I think nowadays to look strong is sexy, which is cool because I feel like that helps a lot. But I think like you can make it what you want. And yeah, at the end of the day, it's just being comfortable in your own body, which I think takes a little while. And I know that when I was younger, I had baby fat and I'm only getting rid of it now and I'm 25. So like I was talking to my dad the other day and he was saying that I'm looking really good. And I'm like, yeah, well, it's only taken me like 7 or 8 years to get rid of my baby fat. But those things take time. I think it's just how the body reacts. And I train a lot and it's only just happened now. So I think it's being patient with your body and knowing that you like trusting your strength and conditioner and your staff, that they're doing everything to get you in the best possible shape. And even though you don't look the way that you want to look, as long as you're performing, that's all that matters. And yeah, I just think it's just patience, and it'll all come the more you get older and the more you mature and all that kind of stuff. Personally, I just think while you're young, I think it's really important just to enjoy playing sport and enjoy playing with your mates. And once it gets to that point where you have to pick, or you have to be serious about your sport, that's when you just go for it and you get your personal trainer and you get your nutritionist and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I just think it's all about enjoying yourself and not overdoing it. I think a lot of people, especially a lot of young people these days, are training a lot. And there's so many injuries that probably shouldn't happen when you're so young, especially, yeah, because you shouldn't be training that much. And yeah, I don't know. That's just my personal opinion. I don't know what you guys think.
No, well, on that topic, so I did ironically coach Riles when he was 17, I think. Yeah. And your dad actually come down one day and we went through the program and he shared his thoughts on why he didn't believe weights was important at that stage. And I shared my thoughts on why I thought they were important in some regard. And we found a happy medium, which was really good. And I give him credit to that for finding a common ground because, at that stage, for example, Riley was quite weak compared to the other boys. But on the topic of what you just said there before, that like the amount of training that these kids go through, like, for example, those boys that were in that team that year, they would have their rep training with us 4 days a week. They would have 2 or 3 school training sessions a week, plus a school game, plus their club game, plus club training. Ended up having, like, we worked out 1 week, they were doing like 16 training sessions a week in their weekly schedule, plus 2 or 3 games. And it's any wonder that sometimes the boys and girls just break down at that age. And that was sort of the common ground that we found, was that it's just trying to interweave the training correctly, that these kids don't end up, not like you mentioned, falling out in love with the sport, because that's super important.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it's probably that happy medium of, like, I think for me personally, like, I've always been strong as a female, so I didn't necessarily have to do weights at the time. But say for my brother, he was like this little scrawny, skinny kid that needed to do weights, but dad was like, well, he didn't believe in that. But then when obviously he had that conversation with you guys worked through it, and he probably did do a couple of weights a week. But I think it's having that balance of, like, doing all of this footy training, but knowing, well, they need to get some strength in them to be able to perform and compete against,
Yeah, how I sold it was because he was having little shoulder issues at the time was it's body armor. So for him at that age, it's not necessarily about making him, big and massive and strong. It's actually about putting a little bit of body armor on him so that when he takes his impact from these bigger guys, that he can actually withstand the demands of the game. And that's sort of what we ended up selling it on. So for those coaches out there trying to sell it, that could be a good little option there.